Mabuhay ug madayaw. My name is Maria Jezreel F. Rivas, and I'm gonna tackle the rationale of the study, background of the study, setting of the study, and the statement of the problem of our research title, Marine and Coastal Tourism, Effectiveness of Coastal Cleanup as Sustainable Practice in Barangay Kaliklik, Babak, Island Gardens, City of Samar. Tourists are attracted to coastal areas because of the peaceful atmosphere, clean and green environment. Human peregrinated to these areas to find havens of tranquility and leisure, enunciating how much we care about these pieces for our chronic health and relaxation, has the potential to be an immensely colossal catalyst in sanctioning people to understand why they should additionally care for them on an ecumenical level. Coastal tourism presents images of resorts with white sandy beaches lined with coconut palms and crystal clear waters. Advertisements and peregrinate commercial literature have availed to foster a captivating picture that coastal resorts conventionally offer: the sun, sea, and sand. There are several studies conducted about coastal tourism development. A global study from Gosh 2012 stated that there is about 30% of the world's tourism is on the coast or within the coastal zone. And in addition, economy of that area depends on the coastal tourism besides their other profession like fisheries, agriculture, and so on. The Philippines has all the natural resources, infrastructure, beautiful islands, and the most hospitable people around. The country has to pursue marine development to further boost tourism and promote inclusive growth to different provinces. If we support our local boat builders, it would generate more income to the small businesses and produce more income for people in the coastal areas. A study conducted by Superio and Abrio 2020 in Matina River in Davao City, Philippines, tells that similar to marine ecosystem plastic pollution, some mostly from mismanaged waste or improper disposal from residential, industrial, and agriculture activities, eventually finding the way to rivers, streams, and lakes. This makes the problem on plastics pollution in freshwater ecosystem as equally important and relevant as marine plastic pollution. From the study of Angeles 2018, she stated that coastal development has positive and negative effects on the marine ecosystem and tourism industry. As the coastal areas become highly developed, it attracts crowds of tourists that can contribute to great changes but also damage the environment. However, in her study, she hasn't reported how human behavior can mitigate some of the risks that tourism poses to a destination if tourists choose to act sustainably and if resources and practices are managed correctly. This is where sustainable tourism can provide a solution. In this study, the researchers will address the issues of coastal tourism in a way that the researchers will know the effectiveness of coastal cleanup as sustainable practice to avoid destroying the marine ecosystem. Coastal development is a challenge for environmental celebrating concerning the bulwark and preservation of the marine ecosystem, welfare of the local community, and magnification of the tourism industry, balancing pleasure with education and advocacy will help boost the overall awareness about how important coastal areas to our communities and the tourists that choose these kinds of destinations for an escape. Marine and coastal tourism play a vital role in the economic and environmental landscape of regions like Barangay Kaliklik in Babak Island Gardens City of Samal. As these areas become increasingly popular destinations, the need for sustainable practices become paramount. This focuses on evaluating the effectiveness of coastal cleanup as a sustainable practice. This research likely aims to assess the impact of such initiatives on the overall health of marine ecosystems. The attractiveness of coastal areas for tourism and the community's involvement in preserving the environment. This study aims to investigate the effectiveness of coastal cleanup initiatives as a sustainable practice in preserving the marine and coastal ecosystems of Barangay Kaliklik, and how sustainable practices like coastal cleanups contribute to the long-term viability of marine and coastal tourism in the region. The specific setting of this study is Samal Island, which is located in Davao City, Philippines. Samal Island is known for its beautiful coastal areas and is a popular destination for marine and coastal tourism activities. However, like many other coastal areas, it faces challenges related to pollution and waste management. This study aims to assess the impact of coastal cleanup efforts on the sustainability of marine and coastal tourism in Samal Island. By examining the effectiveness of coastal cleanup activities, this study seeks to understand how these initiatives contribute to the improvement of the marine and coastal environment and its significance for tourism. It may explore factors such as the frequency of cleanup campaigns, the involvement of local communities and stakeholders, the level of waste reduction achieved, and the overall perception of tourists regarding the cleanliness and attractiveness of the coastal areas. The findings of the study can be used to identify best practice, develop strategies, and provide recommendation for enhancing the effectiveness of coastal cleanup as a sustainable practice in Samal Island's marine and coastal tourism industry. This study will be conducted to determine the level of effectiveness of sustainable practices and the behavior of the local people towards and coastal community in Barangay Kaliklik, Babak District, Samal Island. This study will answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of gender, age, marital status, length of residency, and occupation? Number 2, what is the level of effectiveness of sustainable practices, specifically to coastal cleanup in Barangay Kaliklik, Babak District, Samal Island? Number 3, is there a significant relationship between the effectiveness of coastal cleanup as sustainable practice in Barangay Kaliklik, Babak District, Samal Island, and it's important to the local people in terms of knowledge and
This
skills?
research focuses on the integrated coastal management approach, which aims to integrate and coordinate different efforts in coastal and marine management. The objective of ICM is to govern human activities that affect the sustainable use of goods and services provided by coastal and marine ecosystems. So this research highlights the importance of ecological education, particularly for younger generations. While education alone may not instantly solve environmental problems, it can contribute to their rehabilitation. Providing ecological education to young people is seen as more efficient and cost-effective approach to prevent further environmental degradation compared to rehabilitating damage caused by previous generations. The researchers choose to explore these theories because they believe they will be effective in guiding their ongoing study. These theories are applicable and will provide relevant information to support the research.
The scope of the study refers to the specific parameters and boundaries within which the research will be conducted. In this case, the study will focus on the local people who live and work in Barangay Kaliklik, Babak District, Samal Island. It will specifically examine their perceptions and practices of sustainable practices and how these practices impact the coastal community and its residents. So this study aims to gather from data from 100 respondents through the use of a survey questionnaire. And to be or like added is that the diminution of the study sets limitations on the research. In this case, the study is delimited to the local people in Barangay Kaliklik. So it means that the findings and conclusions drawn from the research may not be applicable to other communities or populations outside of this specific area. The study will focus solely on the perspectives and experiences of the local people in Barangay Kaliklik regarding to the sustainable practices and their impacts. Additionally, the researchers believe that incorporating eco-democracy procedures which give a voice to non-humans can help expand the political community and raise awareness about the interests, needs, and lives of non-human entities in a world of predominantly dominated by the human societies.
Hello, I am Ayman A. Mualam and I'm going to be summarizing the related research literature about our research. Now, tourism has become one of the fastest growing industries in the world, contributing for a significant share of many developing countries' gross domestic product. Now, small island states depend in particular on tourism at the coast and at the sea. Now, this information about marine tourism explains how there are various threats to the marine system, like including climate change, overfishing, trawling, invasive species, pollution, and coastal development. It defines coastal tourism and maritime tourism and explains that they need to consider dependence on coastal ecosystems. Now, sustainable tourism development is discussed with a focus on economic, social, cultural, and environmental sustainability. um, at the next one is UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, or the IOC, in ocean conservation and building knowledge on ocean issues. It discusses pressures on coastal zones from activities like tourism and climate change. Now, tourism is also defined as a fast-growing economic sector that can promote development. On the other hand, community participation in tourism planning and sustainable development of destinations like World Heritage Sites is highlighted. Environmental concern is noted as important in predicting support for environmentally friendly behavior. Ecotourism related to seabirds, marine mammals, and whales is discussed as a growing tourism segment, with some concerns noted. Finally, the prevalence of coastal tourism globally is discussed, along with urbanization pressures on coasts that over half the world's population lives by. So, in summary, the RRL in this part is related to marine tourism, sustainability issues, coastal development pressures, and the importance of community participations on uh, and environmental awareness in fostering sustainable tourism.
Coastal livelihood. Garcia Rodriguez 2017 states that coastal development in Australia is regulated by state and territorial laws, leading to significant variations in coastal management and approaches. Some states like NSW, Queensland, Victoria, and South Australia have specific coastal legislation and others in public assets, community, and hazard. In contrast, other regions rely on planning policies and a mix of legislation related to waterways, catchment management, biodiversity, conservation, protected areas, and fisheries. Marine and Coastal Solution and Threats in Coastal Areas Resources. Marine Solution 2018 states that environmental challenges in marine conservation focusing on California's high seafood demand lead to persistent fishing gear pollution. The harmful effects on ocean ecosystem and social groups are prompting responses from individuals, marine care centers, and volunteer groups. Efforts to improve fishing methods and raise awareness about consumer choices are emerging. The second part addresses the global significance of marine litter, emphasizing its definition and impact on coastal areas. Despite long-standing recognition, the plastic issue has escalated, causing immeasurable and irreversible costs to society, marine environments, and human health, with effects at local to global scales. The statement discusses various aspects of marine and coastal solutions emphasizing the need to address marine litter impacts, coastal threats, sustainable economic benefits, and understanding the relation between measures. It advocates for comprehensive approaches to eliminate or reduce marine litter and its environmental impacts. The challenges include the degradation of coastal ecosystem due to human activities, emphasizing the urgency of coordinated action. Additionally, the importance of sustainable economic benefits, the hazards associated with coastal living, and the correlational coefficient as measures of relationship between variables are highlighted for a holistic understanding of marine and coastal issues.
For our chapter 3, we have the methodology. This chapter gives an outline of research methods that will be followed in the study. It provides information about the respondents, the research design that is chosen for the purpose of this study, the instrument that will be used for data collection, the procedures that will be followed to carry out the study, the methods that will be used to analyze the data, and the ethical issues that will be followed in the research process. And for our research design, the research design that will be used in the study is a non-experimental quantitative research, specifically descriptive correlational method. And according to DESI of 2005, descriptive correlational research method is used to obtain information concerning current status of the phenomena to describe what exists with respect to variables or conditions in a situation. The method involves a range from the survey, which describes the status quo, the correlational study, which investigates the relationship between variables. In this view, the descriptive correlational method is an appropriate research design to gather relevant data that will be needed in this study. For our research local, we chose the island garden city of Samar. It is a fourth-class city in the province of Davao del Norte, Philippines. Samal is the only city in the country that encompasses 2 entire islands, hence its name as the Island Garden City. The city has more than 38.9 kilometers from Davao City, and it is the largest resort city in the country. It has good beaches and it houses many beach resorts. It has also numerous marine reefs, tranquil waters that lure the tourists to visit them. This study will take place in Barangay Kaliklik, Babac District, Samal Island. The researchers will choose random people who are willing to participate in the survey. Through this, the researchers will be able to identify if there is any significant relationship between the effectiveness of coastal cleanup as sustainable practice and its impact to the coastal community. And for our research respondents, this study will have 100 respondents who are working and living in Barangay Kaliklik, Babac District, Samal Island. The respondents would consist of people ages 18 to 65 years old, including their marital status, length of residency, and occupation. And the researchers will use a random sampling technique and choosing the respondents. And Mercado of 2006 shared that simple random sampling is used when we know the number comprising the population but do not have a complete list of their needs. And Sevilla et al. Of 2006 also described random sampling as a method of selecting a sample size from a universe such that each member of the population has an equal chance of being included in the sample, and all possible combination of size have an equal chance of being selected as a sample. Because it provides every member of the population an equal chance to be a sample, this strategy is known as the best practices. For our research instrument, the researchers will use a constructed questionnaire whose items will be lifted from the study Effectiveness of Coastal Cleanup Drive in Punta Dumalag, Matina, Davao City by Maranian and O'Highland of 2016, which will undergo content validation and internal validity using Cronbach Alpha. Cronbach from 1951 developed the Cronbach Alpha to measure reliability and internal consistency. And the questionnaire will be divided into 3 parts. The first part will be the demographic profile of the respondents, such as gender, age, marital status, length of residency, and occupation. And second part will consist of questions pertaining to the effectiveness of sustainable practices. And the third part will consist of questions pertaining to the impact of sustainable practices to local people.